Alright lads, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over the T58 in War Thunder, well I guess on the dev server. This is coming in at battle rating 8.0 and it's located in I believe the 6th rank of the US tech tree. No, correction, 5th rank of the US tech tree. Now there's quite a lot of, well to me I'm very skeptical of this premium. Battle rating 8.0. That means it's going to have to go up against the incredibly powerful 9.0 Soviet and the incredibly powerful 9.0 Chinese lineup as well. So the T55 AM is going to absolutely rock your shit as well. The Chinese 9.0 lineup, T69-2, the WMA, as well as the M60 TTS. Very good shell now with the DM33. But that's not what we're looking at today. We are, of course, looking at the T58. So to start with, we've got the chassis of the M103 heavy tank. So we do have some very good protection. In terms of its actual thickness, it's about 5 inches, dropping down to 4.5 inches as we go up to the driver's vision port. Now, it's obviously very heavily angled, so you're getting about 8.5 inches of armor protection. That would be impressive at around like battle rating 7.3, 7.7, but this is battle rating 8.0. So there's going to be pretty much everything can go straight through here with either APDS or Heat FS. Not to mention the fairly major weak spot of your turret. So it's only 90mm thick here, but just be aware that it is overlapping. You see that it does kind of go below. So it's going to be about 180mm plus a bit extra. So pretty decent protection on this lower bit. But if an enemy can sneak a shell into just below your gun barrel, it should be pretty easy for them to penetrate. That being said, from an oblique angle, if you do manage to angle the tank like this, it can be quite hard. Well, I guess if they're firing traditional ammunition at you, maybe in a down tier against like a Tiger 2, it would be quite hard for them to go through it. But I don't really have the best of belief for this vehicle. I don't think it's going to be majorly effective as a premium. I don't really know why you would ever not play the American 7.0 lineup. So the T29, the M46 Tiger, two exceptional vehicles. I guess it is only a rank 4 premium, those two. So you can't technically grind out the early Cold War vehicles like you can with the T58. But I believe this thing is coming for like $60, £50 sterling, 60 euros, about that. And I think that is quite extreme, to be honest. You may as well just spend a bit more and get the clickbait. So it gets the same engine as the M103, 810 horsepower with a 35 kilometers per hour top speed going forwards and about 7 kilometers per hour in reverse. So decent mobility for a heavy tank, in my opinion. It's kind of at the battle rating where heavy tanks have kind of fallen out of favour. The same thing can be said as well, I think, for the gun. It is 155mm. It is an absolute, well, it's like a starting quarterback for an American listener. I don't really know anything about American football. I'm not even going to pretend. And it's kind of let down, in my opinion, by the choice of ammunition. You've got Heat as well as Hesh, and the Hesh is incredibly slow for some reason. You'd imagine that there'd be something like APDS at least, or solid shot. So for example, if you take a look at the T54E1, it's got like an APBC round, as well as an APDS, and these things have like 1500 meters muzzle velocity, so like just as fast as like a Sable round at top tier basically. This thing's even over 1000 meters per second, and these are going to be much more effective at battle rating 8.0 than the bog standard Heat that you get on this thing. Heat like this, while it does have over 400mm of penetration, I find it's always very hit and miss. It's very inconsistent with its damage output, in my opinion. The Hesh as well, at 259 meters per second muzzle velocity, it's going to be incredibly hard to hit anything, at least other than at point blank range. But there are some positives of this vehicle. Obviously, we do have a 6-round ready rack with a reload speed of 3.8 seconds. So basically firing every 4 seconds straight out of the box. You don't need an ace crew. It's going to be a steady 4-second reload, making it kind of similar to like the Type 10s on the Type 90s 4-second reload. So you are going to have a firepower advantage over most opponents, at least when it comes to the rate of fire. Also bear in mind that this gun is not stabilized. and it's going to be battle rating obviously 8.0. A lot of up tiers to 9.0 and 8.7, where enemies are going to have stabilizers, and they're going to have just as good penetration as you with those saber rounds as well as the heat of S. So it's one of those tanks where it's kind of only really effective, in my opinion, in a down tier, which it really isn't something that you want in a premium grinder. Now, if you're just buying this vehicle because you want something to play, and Guardian has been doing that quite a lot, they're adding like unique vehicles. Like they did it with the A10 as well, I think. I think that was a premium at first, if my memory serves me correctly. So Guardian are like adding vehicles that people want, but making them like premiums. Now we can have a look at the Hesh shell here. I believe that's 40 or 400 meters. So the muzzle velocity on this is insanely low for some reason. Granted, it does have, I believe, just over 200 millimeters of penetration. So if you do actually manage to hit something, it is going to do a substantial amount of damage. But imagine trying to use this against people actually maneuvering. I mean, like, fair enough, if someone's camping, you'd be able to like drop it down on top of the head. But I really don't think people are going to give you that chance, unless you manage to shoot it right underneath like I did there and it splashes up. The other downside of this vehicle, like the T58 is that if you do deplete the ammunition storage, it is going to be a substantial weight for basically your ready rack in the back of the vehicle has been depleted, and your crew members are now trying to move what I assume is like a 30 kilo round around in that little turret. As you can see, we've just got one loaded now. But if I was to fire here now, it would take a very long time to refill that ammunition, as you can see. So if you do fire those 6 rounds, you are going to be incredibly vulnerable. You're not going to be able to fire back for like at least a good 30 seconds. Like I said, there's just lots of little things that add up to make this, in my opinion, not a fantastic grinding vehicle. Now, if you are, like I said, if you are just going to get this because you want the T58, you want to be able to play it for some reason, I don't know, maybe you really like it, auto-loaded 155mm gun, but I really don't see the appeal in terms of actual grinding. Like, if this is like an event vehicle, fair enough, like I'd grind to get it, or maybe GE it for the rare collectible, but paying $60 for like something that isn't really going to be, at least in my opinion, particularly effective. Now, I could be completely wrong and have to eat my own words. Mainly, I just see, because 9.0 is kind of where the meta is at the minute. Loads of people are playing it because all the big bad things at like 10.0 have all been up tiered now. So if you're playing 9.0 or 9.3, you're not getting any you're not getting any up tiers really. So it makes it incredibly good for just like casual playing, having fun, grinding. So I don't really see the appeal of this vehicle unless they give it substantially better rounds. Like a solid shot round would be way better in my opinion. I don't know if that's historical, but there's not really too much to say. I don't think this tank is going to be particularly good for grinding. To be honest, there isn't really any rank 5 premium for the Americans that are that good. The T58 it's very competent. It's got a 9 round ready rack, I believe, but it does have good ammunition as well. The Magak ERA, I don't think you can even get that anymore, and the T58 is just dog shit. So I wouldn't recommend pre-ordering this vehicle unless you really want to say you got a T58. But if you are looking to grind out the American tech tree, start with 7.0, T29, M46 Tiger if they're still available. I know the T29 is, I'm not sure about the 46. Both absolutely fantastic vehicle. If you're in a brawly map, take the T29. If you're on like a flanking map, take the much faster, heat of fast firing M46. If you want a little bit higher battle rating, either go for the XM1, the KVT, or the Clickbait. All of those are good picks, much better than 8.0, and with these higher tier vehicles, you can of course grind everything else. So thank you very much for watching, lads. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Hopefully you learned something in the video, and I'll see you in the next one.